Joining me now via Skype is Pieter Engelbrecht, CEO of Shoprite. Pieter, thanks so much for your time. I mean, the market today not liking the numbers too much, judging by the plunge that we saw in the share price. It seems everybody's quite worried about what's going on in Angola. Can you paint that picture for us? How bad are things there?
Absolutely. Firstly, the impact of Angola is significant because since last year, it's about 50% of our non-RSA operations. So we had to deal with three separate issues there. It was the currency devaluation of 50.2% in January. We come out of a high base of 2 years compounded growth of 65.9%. And then we had to apply, from an accounting point of view, a hyperinflation this year. So we incurred a devaluation or currency loss there of 251 million, influencing our earnings, of course. But what I want to say about our non-RSA operation, which is actually very critical, is that it's in no means in a crisis. If we ignore the hyperinflation accounting, then we're still making R1 billion of profit in that country. In our non-RSA operations, very few businesses still make R1 billion in profit. Overall, the company still managed to make R8 billion in profits and with a trading margin of 5.5%. So Angola per se, the good news there is we've got a fantastic brand in there. We don't have the issue about strapped cash anymore or restricted cash. And the GDP growth for the year is predicted at 2%.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Pieter, because Angola is a country there that last year underwent political changes. We've got a new man heading that country who's got his own plans for boosting that economy. I mean, talk to us about what you're seeing on the ground there, and as a business person, are you inspired and do you have a positive outlook about where Angola is headed long term?
Absolutely. I think Mr. Lorenzo is making a lot of good decisions. We are assisting that country from the Shoprite side in terms of establishing agriculture. We're busy with them now on feedlots and abattoirs to get them off their dependency or their high dependency on oil. The oil price has moved up to about $70 now. That should benefit the country as well. He has clamped down dramatically on corruption, has improved administration substantially. So I'm viewing him and his policy decisions as very positive.
Right. And of course, you bringing the situation back home now, I want to talk about Checkers, where you're talking about increasing market share there, getting people who have a bit more cash in their pockets to come into your stores. How are you managing to do that?
Okay, 18 months ago, we decided that we are underrepresented in the more affluent market, as we say, share of wallet. And we specifically started to improve on our fresh delivery and our cold chain, and we've invested quite a bit to improve that. We're by no means where we want to be. We also introduced some private labels in the more upmarket categories, as well as some convenience food, which was greatly and well accepted by that portion of the market. It's important here to separate between the Shoprite and the Checkers consumer brand. Shoprite itself grew by 4.3%, and you can clearly see that that customer is much more cash strapped and has not been able to ride all of the storms that was passed this year to the consumer. What I can say in there is that Shoprite, like we want to say internally, we did it for our customers. We shielded them against 2 billion rand in price increases. And if you take the 13,241 products that were selling at some point in the year, lower than last year, if we sold that at the same price as last year, we would add 2.3 billion in turnover. Then we've got the checkers.
But then, Pieter, just let's hang on to that point for a moment, because you have shielded your consumers. Thank you very much, one of them who has benefited from that. But now your investors are worried about what this has done to your margins. So are you going to continue with this pricing strategy, and up until when and for how long should investors have to see a slight deterioration in margins as a result?
If I can just finish quickly that on Checker side of the business, we grew 8.2% and gained 0.32% market share.
Sure.
So that's a different margin. All in all, our gross profit margin, we've been able to retain that at the same levels as last year. The trading margin reduction from 5.7% to 5.5% is purely as I described about the currency losses. I just want to also mention that the trading margin of 5.5% is double that of any other retailer in South Africa. So the margins are still healthy, and I must say the fundamentals in the business is very good. We grew customers by 3.3%, volume by 2.7%, and still gained market share. So we are not concerned about the fundamentals in the business. It was just a very low inflation year, and we dealt with two very major items apart from Angola, in that we went live with our very big ERP system. Yesterday alone saw us go live with 477 stores in our distribution center. And the other big item was we took beneficial occupation of our distribution center in Silmore in the Cape, two distribution centers where we had for 6 months double up of costs in terms of transport, personnel, stock, and rent.
Pieter, I'm out of time, but I need to ask you an update on Kenya. You're sounding quite upbeat there in your statement about prospects. Talk to us very briefly, if you can, sir, about that.
Yeah, Kenya is the biggest economy in East Africa. We will be opening 1, possibly 2 stores before the end of the calendar year. It's taking a little bit longer because we've decided to do it properly, to open full-fledged international supermarkets there. You would see that Carrefour have said that they've grown more than 100% because they are opening temporary stores. We're not prepared to risk the brand on that. And then we've secured 11 further sites. Other Africa expansionists, you would have seen in the media that we've made a bid for 11 franchise stores in Botswana. That's under arbitration at the moment. We should have an answer before the end of the calendar year on that one as well. And then we have secured 18. We will be opening 18 additional stores in our non-RSA operation for the coming financial year.
All right, Pieter, thank you so much. We will leave it there. That was Pieter Engelbrecht, CEO of Shoprite.